Hello everybody, I have made a new discovery by accident. It's an electrochemical reaction, a new type of electrochemical reaction, like the same type of electrochemical reaction that happens when you plug two potatoes together to light a light bulb, but that's a tiny amount of power. I have made a big amount of power with an electrochemical reaction between a large quartz crystal, copper wire, and a bonsai tree. What I did is my bonsai tree had lost all its leaves and it had died, so I took it out of the earth, and the roots were in a V shape. 3 roots going into a V shape like that, and I integrated my big phantom quartz crystal that's massive. It's big. It's as big as my hand, and I put it in the bonsai roots, and I tied the copper wire, about 10 meters of naked copper wire, all the way around the root and the crystal to make a magic wand. I wanted to make a magic wand with it, and I felt a very relaxing energy coming off of it, and so I put it in the bathroom, and I took a bath, and I left it by the window in the bathroom taking a very hot bath. When I take a bath for about an hour. I stay in there for an hour, and it's lovely. But that's not the point. The point is, when I finished my bath, I took my magic wand with the bonsai, the crystal and the quartz wrapped around it all, into my bedroom and put it on the bed. I went downstairs to have a cup of coffee and a cigarette, 15 minutes, and I came back up and I went to my room and I touched the copper wire and I approached the bonsai, the magic wand, and I could feel hot vibrations in the air around the bonsai, around the wand, and I rushed towards it and I touched the copper wire, and the copper wire was roughly 60 or 70 degrees Celsius. And I got scared for my crystal, so I unravelled the copper wire. I thought it was going to damage the crystal or something, and I thought it was bad for the crystal. But now that ChatGPT has come out, I asked ChatGPT, how come that copper wire had heated up to 60 or 70 degrees Celsius? There must have been an electrical current going through it. And I asked ChatGPT about it, and it said to me, it must have been an electrochemical reaction, because the quartz is a piezoelectrical material. That means that when it was put under pressure with the copper wire wrapped tightly around the root and the crystal, it was creating pressure on the crystal, giving a constant electrical charge. And quartz crystal gives 10,000 volts and a millionth of an amp. So it's nothing really. It's nothing. But, and then I asked the ChatGPT, but if the bonsai, if it was in a room with lots of humidity in the air and hot, would it amplify the flow of electricity? Would it amplify the power? Because what's happening is an electrochemical reaction is when you've got one material that creates electrons and another material that can absorb electrons. And so the quartz crystal was creating electrons, transferring them through the copper wire into the bonsai roots, and ChatGPT said that bonsai roots can absorb ions and electrons for a very short amount of time. So, the crystal was losing. Electrochemical reaction is when the crystal loses electrons and it's transferred through the cable, the conductive wire, into the bonsai root, and the bonsai root is gaining electrons. It's creating an electrical current going through the wire. And the wire had heated up to 60 degrees Celsius. And so I've done some research on to calculate how much power, how much ampage, how many watts were flowing through the copper wire. Just with the fact that knowing that the copper wire was 10 meters long and 60 degrees Celsius, and the quartz crystal develops 10,000 volts. And a 1 meter copper wire heated at 20 degrees with 20 degrees Celsius contains 0.022 ohms. And I had 10 meters long copper wire. So I multiply that by 10, that gives 0.22 ohms. And it was 60 degrees, so it's 3 times more than 20 degrees. So it's 0.66 ohms. And then I did the calculation, 10,000 volts, 10,000 volts multiplied by the ohms 0.66, a rough estimation, 20,000 amps. And to calculate the watts, it's another calculation between the voltage and the amps, and it gave me 150 million watts. What are you saying to me? I have created an electrochemical reaction between a crystal, bonsai tree roots, and copper wire that gives out, in a damp, humid, hot atmosphere, and ChatGPT said that the damp, humid atmosphere would increase the intensity in the current, the amps. So that's why the copper wire got so hot. And I've made this discovery thanks to ChatGPT, because it was just by mistake that I did that. I was just thinking, oh, I'll make a magic wand, it'll look great. A bonsai tree root going, it looked like a dragon with a big crystal on the end of it. It was brilliant. But I haven't got the bonsai anymore. I threw it away. So I've still got the crystal, I've still got the copper wire. I've just got to find a big enough bonsai tree with big bonsai roots. That'll cost me about 130 euros, and it'll create direct current. So I'll need an undulator to transform it into alternative current. But I could power 15,000 houses if each house demands 10,000 watts. 10,000 watts is sufficient enough to power a home. I could power 15,000 homes with one little bonsai tree. And I've heard in ancient history, people used to ignite lights with crystals. And I think I've figured out how they used to do it in the old times. In the Babylon, in Atlantis. In Atlantis, they used to power themselves with crystals, and I've figured it out. So this is free energy, you see. So I'm not going to put a patent on it, because I would get beaten the crap out of it. It's like it's as if we're all on the same boat and we all landed and we all arrived on a desert island. We had no food to eat, and one guy finds fruit growing in trees and plant potatoes growing in the ground. thanks to the rain and the earth and nature, which never asked for anything, and it just gave the food to us. And if that guy had said to his friends, "No, I'm not giving you any food if you don't pay me," he would get beaten the fucking shit out of. So, I'm sharing my idea on how to make a large amount of electricity with an electrochemical reaction between a quartz, bonsai tree roots, and copper wire. Now, if you don't know anything about electricity, don't try to build it because it's very dangerous. There's a lot of power in it. Luckily, when I undid it, I took it by one end of the cable and just unravelled it. If I touched both ends of the cable, I would have been stuck on it and then I would have been dead. Dead to the world. It would have burnt me to the core. 150 million watts would have burnt me to the core. I would have been a pile of ash on the ground. And I'm not a phoenix, and I'm not going to rise from the ashes. Or maybe I have. So I'm sharing this information with you. This has got to be shared with everybody in the world. We need to use this. This is groundbreaking technology. So I'll leave you with these thoughts. I've got enough money to buy. I've been looking for a bonsai tree. I found one to buy, a big enough one to buy. It's a 13-year-old bonsai tree for €130, so it's not a bad price. I've still got the big quartz crystal, and I'm going to do it. And my dad's an electrician mechanic back +4. He's going to help me do all the connections and the measurements and the safety precautions. Because when I approached, as I said earlier on, when I approached the bonsai, I could feel it felt like I was standing. I've already been next to a transformer. And you can feel I've worked in electricity before at school. I was standing next to a transformer and you can feel the electricity in the air. Where I felt the same thing around the bonsai. I call it a bonsai quartz. No, wait, I wrote it down in French because I'm living in France, you see. It's a bonsai with an electrochemical reaction. Yeah, I have to find some name for it. Electrochemical bonsai. Yeah, really cool. Yeah. What? 150 million watts? What are you saying to me? So, yeah, I'm going to share this video on YouTube and it's going to be great. Yeah. We've got to share this for free. We've got to get together and make electricity and say goodbye to the government. We're not paying you any more money for electricity because you're ripping us off, you're polluting the planet, and it's not your fault that you're polluting the planet. It's just the only ideas you've come up with, and I've made a new discovery by accident, and I'm really happy about it. It's really good, and ChatGPT is really good. The artificial intelligence is very helpful. So, because I've already had quite a few basic notions of electricity, but I didn't figure it out at the time. It was about 6 years ago that I did that experiment with the bonsai tree and the copper wire and everything, and I should have thought right back then, but now I didn't know anything about electrochemical reactions. I didn't know that quartz crystals was a piezoelectrical material that when you put under pressure it creates an electrical charge, and bonsai tree roots can absorb ions and electrons for a very short amount of time. So those are things that I didn't know at the time that ChatGPT told me, and yeah, the humidity in the hot air, hot humidity in the air amplifies the amperage in the current in the system in the electrochemical bonsai. So yeah, if you know if you've got knowledge about electricity and you know the safety precautions you need to take with such amounts of power, because you can power 15,000 homes with it, yeah, do it. Power your village. Put the shower on, leave your shower running all day. People will give you €1 a month, so that's 15,000 euros a month for you, just to pay for your water and your electricity bill for the hot water, and get it running. Or there might be a way of getting it running and then creating a closed circuit and use the electricity coming from the bonsai tree to power the hot water, to heat the hot water up and to create the vapor in the room, or use hot stones under a fire with water like a sauna, put it in the sauna, or there's quite a few ways of creating hot air, humidity in the air. Yeah, that's what it is. This is my new project, and it's cheap. But you might need big transformers behind it to deliver the electricity out to the other houses. So it'll be a big project, but I'm just going to start small, build the electrochemical bonsai, and get an amp meter and measure how many amps there really is to be certain of my calculations. But that cable was very hot, and so I'm going to take my time and sort it out with my dad. He's a good electrician. I've talked to him about it. He says, are you sure? Do your calculations again, my son. He's a bit baffled about it. So yeah, I've done the calculations again, and it all adds up. Yeah. The only thing that might not be correct is my memory of how hot the cable was when I touched it. Maybe it was only 40 degrees, but even if it was only 40 degrees Celsius or only 20 degrees Celsius, that's still a lot of amps in the bonsai, and you can power, and it's a lot of power coming from it. So I'll leave you with all this new information, and yeah, have fun, build it, have fun, find a bonsai tree. And it worked. My bonsai tree was dead, and it still worked with a dead bonsai tree. Sadly, I think we might have to take the bonsai trees out of the earth, and I think the amount of electricity would damage the bonsai tree leaves anyway, its growth and everything. But the roots will always keep their capacity to absorb ions and electrons. So yeah, unearth some bonsai trees.